Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Prime Minister Modi is set to meet US President Donald Trump on the 13th of February in Washington, D.C. Prime Minister Modi will arrive in the US on the 12th of Feb after his visit to France. During his trip, he is expected to engage with US corporate leaders. Trump is also likely to host a dinner for Prime Minister Modi during this visit. Both leaders are expected to focus on enhancing trade relations between India and the United States. It is also noted that US is India's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching $118 billion. Meanwhile, President Trump likely aims to reduce the US trade deficit with India and address issues like illegal immigration. Both sides are also expected to discuss continued cooperation on critical technologies and strengthening military interoperability between their armed forces. India is also keen to avoid tariffs previously threatened by Trump. And meanwhile, the two countries are finalizing the details of Modi's visit. Both leaders are going to work further to build a strategic partnership. What all will that include, and how is this latest muscle flexing by the Americans when it comes to deporting illegal immigrants, some of them Indians of course, is going to affect this bilateral conversation? We'll talk about this with our guest. Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, with us on the broadcast. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, joins us on the show as well. Mr. Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert, with us on the program as well. Major General A.K. Sivach, defense expert, joining us on the program as well. Ambassador Sikri, I'll begin with you, ma'am. I hope you can hear me. Ma'am, if you can hear me. Ambassador Sikri? All right, there seems to be a problem with your connection. Sumit Peer, I'll begin with you. Well, Sumit, as you are very well aware that, the headlines which are predominantly, in fact, awash over every news portal in India are talking about the deportation of Indian illegal immigrants from the United States. There doesn't seem to be so much concern with the Indian authorities, because we obviously realize that something illegal is illegal. It's illegal in India, it's illegal in the United States as well. So why take it personally? But the fact of the matter is that the Canadians, the Mexicans, certain countries in South America have been very livid at Donald Trump for the tariffs that he's imposed, including China. But I'm just in fact taking a leaf out of what I've seen during Trump's inauguration, is that Dr. S.J. Shankar sitting right on the front row. Dr. S.J. Shankar sitting right on the front row of the inauguration.
phone number se jo mera main karta raha.
All right, there seems to be an audio problem. I can hear General Sivach. Please kindly mute him. Sumit, so in fact, the drift of the matter is that do you think that India will get to exercise some leeway, being India and being an ally of the Americans? If we can get away buying S-400 missiles from Russia, then I'm sure nothing is impossible for this government at this point in time when it comes to dealing with the United States.
Vineet, thank you very much for having me on your show. A very important topic today. Well, let's put some things in perspective, sir, for our viewers to get a very clear insight. When the Trump's inauguration happens, Dr. Jaishankar has the most important seat in that global geopolitical podium. I'll call it a global geopolitical podium. Japanese foreign ministers 3 rows behind him. First bilateral of Marco Rubio is with Dr. Jaishankar. First meeting is on court, and now the first leader, international leader, whom Trump is meeting face to face is Narendra Modi ji. So when you have so many signals coming out, it's a very, very clear indication how the things are going to come up. Trump has only one bone of contention, that is, look, there's around $32 billion of trade surplus with India. Look, guys, you have to find ways of coming out. And with there are so many things which we look forward to, America for settling it out.
मैं नहीं, audio video दोनों ही आ रहे हैं.
We can.
General Sivach, can you please mute yourself?
We can look forward to those things from the thing. Another thing is, Vineet, what I've been saying on your show and on other platforms as well. Look, President Donald John Trump will meet Modi ji first before he goes to China. It has come true. Because he wants to settle a lot of things with Modi ji, because PTNR will be revoked of China. When PTNR status is revoked of China, there will be 50% additional tariff on Chinese goods, what you are talking right now. It started with Obama, 2.5%. Donald Trump made it 25%. Then they started going to Mexico and Canada using 4% advantage, because things exported from Mexico to America only a 4%. So Trump puts 25% there. additional to begin with 10% more on China, which makes it 35 on China. With PTNR status revoked, it can be 50% more tariff on China. So a big trade war is shaping between America and China. And President Trump wants to know from Modi ji, how much can India do? How much is India willing to come up? Very positive statements from Dr. Jaishankar on one thing. We are not interested in BRICS currency. We are not interested in de-dollarization. And regarding the illegals, we have a very clear stand. Let's identify which is ours. We are willing to take them. Illegal is illegal, what you rightly said. Only why we want to check, we don't want a Bangladeshi to call himself an Indian. We don't want a Pakistani to call himself Indian and come here. That is the only part we are checking. So a new plethora of relations is opening, and new paradigm of relations is opening, which is limited to military, technology, artificial intelligence and all. Look, if Trump has to go hard on Xi Jinping, he needs India on his side, and all the things what I've been telling you are clear indications of that. I mean, there are no tariffs on India, there is nothing like that. And in our budget recently, Vineet, we have addressed a lot of those points of contention which were there. We should be looking forward to doing a trade at the volume what China is doing with the United States of America, because I think these 4 years are a good opportunity for us to take our economy to the next level. Because look, when did China prosper? Look at the numbers of China before Joe Biden and Obama and after Joe Biden and Obama. Those 8 years, China became what it was today. We have got 4 years with Modi ji there for 4 years. Trump is at least there for 4 years. So let's use that opportunity and take relations to the next level. Americans are clearly indicating inclination to India. Americans are clearly talking, we want to do business with you, India. In geopolitics, we need, it's not important how competent or how good you are. It is important how much can you negotiate. And when it comes to Prime Minister Modi, I have no doubt about his capabilities to do the magic. So when this meeting becomes very, very important, because look, UK is not invited, Germany is not invited, France is not invited, or China is not invited. The traditional allies of the United States of America, even the European Union is not invited. It is Modi ji. And look what did Trump said 2 days back before to European Union. You have $350 billion of trade deficit with me, and you are giving this money to China. This is not acceptable. And if you look at the tone, Trump has been talking to MBS where he ordered him to send $1 billion. The way he's talking to France, Germany, where he's talking to European Union, the way they are talking to China, the way they are talking to Denmark for that matter, for Greenland. If you look at all those things, and if you look at the kind of diplomatic niceties and the diplomatic elevation what Indian External Affairs Minister and Indian Prime Minister is getting, and the overall plethora of things which have just opened up, is looking that Americans are ready to talk and negotiate. It's up to us. How much do we want to walk the talk? Only there will be a couple of trade-offs like Iran and all. I think Trump is very, very sensitive to Iran. Iran is what we have to write off. Again, there's $2 billion of trade. It's not a big deal. Minus that, I think it's setting the world stage for world's largest democracy and the oldest democracy to get together and tell to the world what is the power of democracies. Because America tried its luck with communist China, and it realized it created the biggest Frankenstein called China and its crazy leader Xi Jinping. Americans don't want to repeat that mistake. I see it as a great leap forward, and it is, and Donald Trump and Modi ji are letting the world know about this chemistry and about this bonhomie, and let people in UK, France, Germany, Ukraine, to China, to everyone, including European Union, including Brussels, know what is the elevation of the relation between India and United States of America. That's my take on it, Vineet.
All right, Ambassador Veena Sikri, ma'am, how are you looking at this meeting that's going to take place between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump? What, in your expertise and your professional opinion, ma'am, is going to be the fulcrum, the center of this conversation? Is it going to be illegal immigration? Is it going to be tariffs? Or is it going to be something that the Americans and Indians have already straightened out?
Let me say, first of all, that before the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, it is going to be a very important meeting. It is very significant indeed that this meeting is taking place so early, within 1 month of President Trump being sworn in, and it's a meeting that is taking place way, way ahead of other meetings that President Trump has planned, including with President Xi Jinping and many others. So the significance that President Trump is attaching to the relationship with India is more than evident, and I think the very special position that was given to Dr. Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, during the inauguration of President Trump, the very first seat in the very first row, right next to the podium, which was very significant. But I think let us first understand what is going on within America after Trump has taken charge. I think what is going to be most significant for us is Donald Trump's promise to dismantle the deep state. And already he has followed up on it by dismantling USAID. USAID no longer exists. And Marco Rubio is now the acting director of the USAID. Everybody has been sent home and all programs have been stopped. Similarly, the National Endowment for Democracy also is facing the axe. Either it is already going to be axed or it's already been done, but it is definitely facing the axe. Now, National Endowment for Democracy and USAID were considered two big weapons of the American deep state to operate their programs in different countries of the world, including regime change operations. And let me tell you that the NED, the National Endowment for Democracy, was the one that was being named as behind the entire regime change in Bangladesh. Their programs in support of the students, their programs to incite the students against Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, all this was being done by the NED. And together with this, these two was the OCCRP, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, which was funded by the NED and other US government sources. Now, this OCCRP is the one who was putting out all the reports against India. All the reports about so-called backsliding of democracy in India, all the reports against Prime Minister Modi, trying to incite world opinion against Prime Minister Modi, and to tell you that India's opposition were using these reports and quoting them in Parliament. Now, this time, when the budget session opened, Prime Minister Modi made a very significant statement. He said, this time there are no reports that have come out, no reports that the opposition can use and quote in Parliament. This is actually what he said. He pointed to the fact that this time, for the first time in many years, none of these reports were put out. None of these reports denigrating Prime Minister Modi, talking about backsliding democracy, raising absolutely fake issues and pointing them out. So I think this gives one a very clear idea about the new atmospherics, the new reality and the new atmospherics. I think this gives an opportunity, once one understands the extent of the changes that President Donald Trump is bringing within the US, one understands the potential that is opening up for carrying the Indo-US relations to new heights. And I think this is enormous. I think, trade matters, I think, will definitely be sorted out. India is already discussing. India already has a special committee to work out how, on trade issues, India and the USA can come to the same page, the same wavelength. On illegal immigrants, we have already said that we only need to verify those who are illegally staying in the USA, and the Trump administration wants to send them back. We need to verify their citizenship, and we need to verify where they're coming from in India, their details in India, and we'll take them back. As we know, as we speak, one American military aircraft carrying 205 illegal immigrants from India is going to land in Amritsar within the next 8 to 10 hours. So that probably indicates that a lot of illegal immigrants from Punjab are on that flight. So I think these are issues that can very easily be solved between India and America. And I think that we are going to look very much ahead to the security discussion, to the security environment between India and America. This will include the Quad partnership. This will include the defense and trade relationship, trade and defense and items relationship, the security arrangements. All these will be talked about. We know that India is going to host India for the first Quad summit for India in India, and that's going to be hosted very soon. So after Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US, the planning will be for President Trump and all the other Quad leaders to come to India for a summit, and that will be a very, very important occasion for India to host all the four leaders. This will be very important indeed. I think there will definitely be a discussion on regional issues, and I do not think there will be any support from President Trump for this kind of regime change operation that was executed in Bangladesh, and the situation there over the last 6 months has seriously deteriorated, and we know that there's complete chaos there. There's not only continuing law and order breakdown, which is getting worse every day, a continuing collapse of the economy, which is very serious for India, and continuing dissatisfaction among the people. And of course, the continuing attacks on minorities, the Hindus, the Buddhists, and the Christians. These are all matters which are very serious for India, because they have the great potential of spilling over into Indian territory and destroying the law and order in our bordering areas and others. So certainly we are going to place very important high premium on discussions of the regional situation. We do know that External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar did discuss this with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, even on the first day that Marco Rubio took over and had these discussions with Dr. Jaishankar, his very first bilateral. So that's an excellent augury for the future. So I think that all in all is going to be a very significant moving forward of the strategic partnership between India and the USA, and it's going to be a very important review of where India is going to stand in the future perspective of President Trump. He's already indicating by this very meeting within the first 1 month that it is very high for him. So India will what India says to President Trump, what we say about the future of the bilateral relationship, the future of the regional context of India's neighborhood, and the way in which Pakistan and Bangladesh are trying to gang up and destroy the peaceful environment in India's northeast. All these issues are going to come up, and we're looking forward to a great progress in these matters.
All right. Well, those are good points. General Sivach, Donald Trump has also indicated towards cutting funding for Pakistan, and he's obviously not selling what China has been selling for quite some time now. This is good news for India, isn't it? And what do you think will be expected in return from us?
As far as this meeting is concerned between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi, it is going to be a game changer. There are 2-3 issues which are there. One is there bilateral trade which is there between India and US, which is approximately $119 billion, and out of which $77 billion India exports, whereas the US imports only about $39 to $40 billion. There's a trade deficit of $37 billion as far as the US is concerned. I'm sure the US is trying to put pressure on us to buy more energy as well as the defense equipment platform. I think both this will be accepted by India because we have to go a long way. We are a comprehensive strategic partners. And as far as the US is concerned, they are trying to help us out in 2 issues mainly. One is they are giving us critical technology as far as India is concerned. And the second thing is they are ready to give us the most technically equipped platform like F-35. So that's a very positive step. Third thing, which they are trying to put pressure on Pakistan. Last time when Donald Trump came into power, he has stopped that military aid of $400 million. The Donald Trump basic fact was that whatever aid which US was sending to Pakistan that was going to Taliban, which was fighting against US troops in Afghanistan. So Pakistan was double crossing it. In the same way now, once he had taken over the second time, Trump 2.0, he is going to cut number of aid. This US Agency for Development, also a lot of funds used to go to Bangladesh, also to Pakistan. That has been also now been frozen. So as far as India is concerned, I think the relationship between India and US will go to a newer heights, especially in terms of the Quad meeting, because this year, in the end of this year, we are going to have a Quad meeting in Delhi itself, and then you will find that they are coming much closer. And also there will be a pressure which will be put on Bangladesh, because the regime change in Bangladesh has been done by the deep state of US, and which now the US is realizing, especially Donald Trump, that was a mistake, because this vacuum which has been created in Bangladesh has been made use of China and Pakistan. Pakistan ISI has gone up in big way. China is investing in Bangladesh. I think this is what Donald Trump is going to change, because as it is, he doesn't like Mohammed Yunus. Mohammed Yunus is the one which have basically given a lot of fund to Hillary Clinton, also very close to Barack Obama. So overall, to me, it looks like that, that India-US relationships are going to look up. India and US, it will be a give and take, basically relationship when it comes to 2 issues. One is the illegal migrants. We are ready to accept. There are about 18,000. The first batch is already there, which is on the way from US to India. The second thing is India will like to buy the more energy from US as well as the weapon system. As far as India is concerned, I'm sure US is ready to give us a critical technology which is required in semiconductor and also in the chips, also the most modern equipment and weapon which is not ready to give any other country other than NATO. Vinny.
Okay, Mr. Lali also here with us. Mr. Lali, your thoughts on what this bilateral meet is likely to produce? Both the leaders on social media, as well as, to a large extent in terms of their actions also, have expressed, this friendliness which has not been seen between the two countries in a very, very long time. Is that going to help India's cause and perhaps, position it in such a way that, the escalation between China and the United States is going to be fueled further? It's a loaded question, I know.
Thank you, Vineet. Yes, and I think the bromance between Donald J. Trump and Narendra Modi, the best is yet to come. And now that, President Trump has done away with the deep state, so I think a lot of, if I may use the word, a lot of nuisance value that was created by the deep state in trying to corner India has gone out the window. But Vineet, on a note of levity, Donald Trump, as of now, is like a freight train that is coming your way. So, our foreign minister, our prime minister is far more nimble and deft and eligible enough to deal with the much larger issues. And as a foreign minister is already on record saying that these are 18,000 people, and once identified, they are Indians, we'll be more than happy to take them back. So I don't feel this is going to be a big issue. Yes, Donald Trump has just come into power and he is in a hurry to do what he promised us in political campaign because he wants to tell his voters that it was serious business. He's going to walk the talk. And number two is, the courts might be stepping in too because America is a very layered democracy. So before the courts step in, Mr. Donald J. Trump wants to do away with all that he promised. India and America, it's a very multifaceted relationship. There's much more to that relationship beyond the economic ties and even, the geopolitical aspect of it. I mean, the way America and China, that's the worst kept secret. They're going to be going head on, if not now, later, because the manifestation of MAGA can only happen if China's kept into check. And that's where India and our importance the Indo-Pacific will be very crucial. So there are many established mechanisms within America and within our relationship with America. So I wouldn't worry about this or, these 400 and some people, 200 some people being deported back because it's all part of the larger game. And as once again, as we stand for legal immigration, which our foreign minister is on record saying. So whatever might not sound too great to the ears could be Donald Trump actually talking to his own domestic constituency. Thank you, Vineet.
Sumit Peer, I saw your hand go up. Of course, India-US relationship has been fraught with complications in the past. But, our record with Republican presidents is something to gloat about. And do you think that glory and that dignity is going to be continuing under Donald Trump as well?
I think, Vineet, it is going to continue because if I can be honest and candid with you, look, out of B4 countries, your relation with Russia is what it is and America's relation with Russia is what it is. You cannot have a relation with China. America cannot have a relation with China. So who is left? There's a country called Bharat or India and there's a country called United States of America. So you two have to find ways of living together and working for mutual benefit. And when America is your biggest trading partner, and that is where the technology is, that's where the banking is, that's where the IPR is, that's where the universities, that's where the growth is, that's where the democracy is. And today, I have to be very candid with you, it is our time to grow at the cost of China, if I can be as direct as that. Because this is our opportunity. Kismat bar darwaza nahi khatkati. So if luck is knocking our doors, let's encash it. China has grown on at our cost. They have done a lot of things which are not suiting our interests. Now today, America is knocking at your doors and we have to come up. If I can list a few things to you, look, we need 5th generation, we need 6th generation aircraft, right? F-16 Viper is a brilliant machine still as on today. You need F-22s, you need F-35s, you need MQ-9s, you need those advanced AVACs, you need those GE engines, you need those small reactors which can be fitted in the ships to make, or aircraft carriers to make them nuclear enabled. You are building 2 aircraft carriers to have. You need advanced radar systems. You need those big radars which can track things, I can't remember the name, up to 4,000 miles away. And you need supersonic guided missile systems. So with all those things, the technology is with America, the things are with America, and this $32 billion is not a big deal. We have to look at taking the trade to $400 and $500 billion, and there is a potential. Look, there's a vacuum which is created by China moving out of the picture and the trade war. There's a vacuum which is created by Mexico going out of the gear. Canada will temporarily go out of the gear, and European Union will go out of the gear. So if you look at that vacuum, I look at it at $1 trillion. So why can't we look at taking at least the half of the pie? And that is what Modi's mission and vision is going to be. I mean, if you look, when you talk of Prime Minister Modi, he thinks 15, 20 years ahead of what you and me can think. So these are the things. And Trump is again a legendary leader. His IQ, Vineet, I was looking, is double than that of a normal man. People might have all kind of illusions and delusions about Trump, but his IQ is double than that of an average human. So it's not that he doesn't know what he's doing. Prime Minister Modi is there. He is there. Right. What we are seeing, the optics and the semantics is brilliant. Military and artificial intelligence. After DeepSeek and rolled out, we and America have to work together because nishane pe do hi hai, America or India. So we have to work together to make sure that DeepSeek doesn't get any foothold in America or in India. So we have to work together. There's no option.
All right. Okay. On that note, we're going to dip into a short break. Appreciate everybody who joined us and gave their perspective on this important relationship between India and America. We take a short break. Be right back.